evening, Livonia. I will call to order the study meeting for January 19th. Mr. Donovic will start us off with offering the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Donovic. Welcome to the January 19, 2022 study session of the Livonia City Council. This meeting will set the agenda for the 1937th regular meeting, which is a voting meeting and will take place on Monday, January 31st, 2022. We have everybody on council is here with the exception of Vice President Toy. She regrets that she is not able to be here under the advice of her doctors. She is well, but she is being cautious in regards to the current variant of COVID. And we hope that she is with us back here in person shortly. We don't have any special groups, special people, but no special groups in the audience. I'll go to the council to make any kind of council announcements. Do we have anything from council? It appears to be none. Do we have any audience communication? There appears to be none. So with that, this is a study meeting. There will be no votes taken tonight. The council members will offer a resolution or a combination of resolutions for each item. The resolutions offered may include an approving, a denying, a referring to a committee or a city department for the report and recommendation. A resolution of no further action may also be offered. There are some items that will simply be received and filed for the information of the city council. Please note that all of the items on tonight's agenda will move on to the regular meeting of Monday, January 31st, where they will be officially voted on. If you would like to participate in any of the agenda items before us tonight, I will notify you when it is the appropriate time to come to the podium to discuss those items. There are time limits set depending on your role and what matter you intend to speak upon. With that being said, I will call the first item of the study agenda. Item number 1, a request for designation as a nonprofit organization, coming to us from Josh Kirk, the president of the Athletika Warriors. This is required by the state of Michigan to obtain a charitable gaming license to allow for a raffle fundraiser in the future. Mr. Kirk or anybody from the Athletika Warriors, please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Josh Kirk. I live at 32051 Washington Street in Livonia.
Thank you very much, sir. Why do you come before us here today? I've read off the item. Can you give us some information?
Yeah, of course. I'm a youth baseball coach. I coach a 12U Livonia-based baseball team. We started a nonprofit in 2020. We have the federal ID number. We have the state exemption for taxes. What we are coming to the board today, or the city council today, is to ask for recognition to be recognized as a nonprofit. What it does allow us to do is to volunteer our time. One of our dads works at a casino, and we can trade our volunteer time for a portion of proceeds. Those proceeds, because we are a nonprofit, go back into the team. None of the directors are compensated. None of the coaches are paid for. It's 100% for the kids.
Sounds great. Anybody from the council like to make a motion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Donovic.
I'd like to offer an approving on consent if there's no objection. I'd also like to add, it's appropriate, those jerseys are very cool, and if there's a place to buy them at, let me know, I'll buy one.
Okay. Thank you.
I saw you sitting out there all night, and I thought you were a Brother Rice person. Come to find out, my fear was unwarranted.
No.
Anyways, this item has been offered for the consent agenda. That means that you do not have to come to the next meeting. This will be voted on and very likely approved. Okay? Thank you, sir. Have a nice night. Good luck to the team and to the charitable efforts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
You too. Item number 2, a request to barricade city streets, coming to us from Alyssa Choraszewski from St. Priscilla Catholic Church for Saturday, May 21, 2022, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., beginning and ending at 19120 Purlingbrook for a 5K run and a 1.5K walk to benefit charity work of the parish. Your name and address, ma'am.
Alyssa Choraszewski, and, the C is silent. And I represent St. Priscilla, which is at 19120 Purlingbrook. I live in Farmington. Do you need that address?
Yeah, if we need to contact you for some
Okay,
reason.
23217 Hawthorne Street in Farmington.
Sounds good. Thank you, ma'am. So I read the item. Can you give us some more information, please?
Okay, so I had to do the block party form to barricade streets, but I'm not actually requesting to close any streets. I don't know if you have the route, but we're going to just be going through the subdivision side streets within our block. And we're actually gonna be like on part of the road, because I don't expect it to be like a huge turnout it's our very first time doing a 5K. It's our 60th anniversary, so we're trying to think of different ways to raise funds for our various charities that we support. And so this was one idea that came to mind. And then as we meander through the subdivision, we go out on Fargo Street, and then we go down Merriman on the sidewalk and go on 7 Mile on the sidewalk. So we're not actually closing any streets.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Barr?
she actually answered my concern with that last comment. I'd offer this for approving for consent if there's no objection, and I'll be anxious to see how it goes, and maybe we'll see you back in the future and have some experience this
Okay.
time to base it on, so.
Okay, if I can, I have one question. Will you have people on the route to help direct people?
Yes.
Okay, so you have
Yeah.
that kind of handled?
Yes, we'll have the parishioners helping direct the runner and walker traffic, because they're different routes.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to challenge anybody else on council who'd like to participate. You can make a wager in regards to the 5K.
I will
Mr.
gladly
Morgan?
take,
I don't think so.
gladly take Mr. Jolly up on that.
Well, you have 2 people participating because I intend to beat Mr. Donovic
Okay,
on May
good.
21st of
He
2022.
beat me in November, so I guess I'll do it again.
Your item is on the consent agenda. Thank you very much. You do not have to come back. It is all but assured that it will be approved.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you and good luck.
Thanks.
Item number 3, a request for authorization to purchase 2 power load ambulance cot loading systems from the Livonia Fire Department to be placed in frontline vehicles and improve worker and patient safety from budgeted funds.
Good evening, Council. Tonight, I'm here to request an approving resolution to purchase 2 of these power load systems. As you probably know, those are the systems that are installed in the floor in the rear of our ambulances. They extend out, attach onto our stretchers, stabilizing the patient and helping lift that stretcher, bring it back into the cot to limit the exposure and wear and tear on our firefighters. We have the same equipment on all of our frontline vehicles currently. By ordering them now prior to January 31st, we will avoid a 10% price increase. And the first of these 2 cot systems will go into our new Squad 4 that was just delivered on Friday of this past week.
Sounds good. Any motion or question from the council? Mr. McCullough?
I'd be happy to offer an approving for consent.
Okay, that's on consent. You know what that means. Well, let me say, any audience communication? None. That's on consent. You know what that means?
Thank you.
You're all set. Thank you, Chief. Item number 4, award of bid from the Department of Parks and Recreation and Community Resources for the printing of 3 issues of the City of Livonia's Connections magazine for 2022 from budgeted funds. Mr. Sabo?
Good evening, Council. Josh Sabo from the Department of Community Resources, here to ask council approval of a new contract for the printing and design of our city magazine, Connections. Our existing vendor for this job, ID Enterprises, alerted the city of their intention to end the existing contract as a result of significant materials cost increases. The market for paper materials and shipping has seen significant price increases across the last year, as has been the case for so many industries during the pandemic. As such, we went out to bid again for this project. We are asking you to accept the lowest bid we received, which is from Hearst Publishing's Pioneer Group, which is based in West Michigan in Big Rapids. We had a very positive meeting with them a couple weeks ago and are confident in their ability to support our work in continuing to improve this city publication and deliver important information to the community. The contract would run for the 3 issues across 2022 and actually represents a slight cost savings, about $200 from the current contract. We would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Mr. President?
Ms. McIntyre first, and then Mr. Donovan.
Was this the publisher that we
Yes.
considered them last time,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
But our current publisher is getting out of the business?
Of well, they're not getting out of the business, but they were asking for increased prices that were beyond what council had approved, given the, cost increases that they were seeing from their suppliers.
Okay, and just one other question, if I may, Mr. Jolly, while we're on the topic. How is the combined magazine format being, what do we hear, Josh?
I haven't gotten a ton of feedback from residents about it. I'd be very interested in hearing what folks have to say. I do know that we feel very good about the direction of things. The most recent issue, which I have with me here, featured a cover story about Chief Goralski and starting his time, his service as chief of police. And I think it's something that we're hoping to not only deliver a very comprehensive look at services in the city of Livonia, but also be able to highlight for residents particular things that might be of significant interest to them. In the last issue, not only with Chief Goralski's appointment, but also featured some of the holiday events that Parks and Recreation was sponsoring as well. And so just being able to kind of present things in hopefully a more accessible way for residents, letting them know about kind of the highlights of what's going on alongside basic services.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Sabo, thanks for being here tonight. This paper, the quality, is it going to be the gloss style, or is it going to be that matte material kind of paper?
So it will continue to be exactly what the current Connections magazine is, and so that has the front and back page that are the glossier, and then the interior is kind of the more newsprint type, but I think it's a little, technically a little higher quality than a newsprint, exactly, and it's full color as well, so that would be another component of it.
And if residents or businesses want to advertise, they're not going to advertise in this paper, or can they?
There are existing agreements that Parks and Recreation had with at least one local business for advertising in their magazine that, since we combined Parks and Recreation's product and ours, we've since maintained, but otherwise currently we're not looking at any additional advertising.
Thank you, Mr. Sabo.
Okay, if I may, I want to make a comment real quick. I think in terms of feedback, I've received some feedback quite a bit saying that the information was presented oftentimes significantly more clearly and usable. And I think that that's correct in a lot of cases. But I think the first issue that I opened, and I can't recall if it's been the same in subsequent issues, I was really disappointed with the clarity of some of the images and some of the printing. It was enough to make somebody who knew a little bit more about the discussion that we had earlier a little upset, I guess. So hopefully you can note that and carry that forward, that we can avoid that going forward again.
That was, if I may, Council President Jolly, that was definitely something that we identified as well. We brought in the vendor at that point for a meeting about that exact thing, and we were definitely comfortable with how that was addressed in the second issue, but obviously we're moving away from them here, just given the price increases that they're passing along to us.
Sounds good, thank you. Can I have a motion from council to move forward on this?
I'd be happy to offer a motion for the consent agenda.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. Any audience?
Approving, if I didn't say that.
Approving for the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Any audience communication? There appears to be none. You are all set, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 5, an award of bid from the Public Service Division for Aggregates, road, gravel, slag, and stone for the city's 2022 calendar year requirements from budgeted funds.
Good evening, Council. Doug Moore with the Department of Public Works. This is first of 3 housekeeping items that we come to Council every year. This is our aggregate bid. It was put out on Mitten on earlier in December. The bids were opened on December 21st, and we had 3 bidders. This is our gravel, road gravel, sand, slag for ball diamonds. The bidders are listed on the second page in the pricing. We're asking council to approve the low bid pricing, and then the second pricing is the backup in case the low bidder can't get it to us. And these funds are budgeted in the annual budget.
Thank you, sir. Council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Donovic?
I'd like to offer approving on consent if there is no objection.
Any audience communication? There appears to be none. We have consent on item number 5.
Thank you.
Item number 6, award of bid from the Public Works Division for ready mix concrete for the city's 2022 calendar year requirements from budgeted funds. Mr. Moore.
Again, this is an annual item, and we were excited this year because we had 2 bidders. Usually we have 1. Piedmont Concrete was the low bidder, and Superior Concrete was the second low, so we're asking council to approve both so that we're able to use the second in case the first can't get it to us in a timely manner.
Mr. President.
Mr. Barr.
Mr. Moore, your excitement is palpable.
Thanks.
I'll offer an approving for consent if there's no objection.
Okay, anybody else from council? Seeing none. Audience communication, seeing none. That item is on the consent agenda. Item number 7, award of bid from the Public Works Division for water main repair clamps for the city's 2022 calendar year requirements from budgeted funds. Mr. Moore.
And again, a third thing, these are, of the 3 things I've just produced, probably the most important, because these fix all our water breaks when we have them. We had a couple bidders, and again, it's low bidder as the prime, and the second bidder is the backup, just in case the low bidder can't get it to us on time.
Council?
I will,
No.
no.
Mr. Morgan.
Offer approving. Approving for consent.
Thank you, sir. We have approving for consent. Anybody else from council? None. Audience communication? None. Item number 7 is on consent.
Thank you very much, council.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
Mr.
night.
Moore. Good night. Thank you. Item number 8, request to approve final cost information and to authorize additional appropriation and expenditure. Coming to us from the Engineering Division for the 2021 Sidewalk Program, Contract 21-G, Council Resolution 84-21. Mr. Zalinsik.
Yes, City Council, this is again a housekeeping issue that we bring to you every year after our road, or our sidewalk repairs that were completed in 2021 by Joe Rotundo Construction. As you know, we actually are under budget. The authorized amount was $755,587.25. The actual total cost was $706,851.81. And basically, what it boils down to is just identifying each item where we had single lot assessments, where we under 5,000, which we billed to the homeowners. A lot of people last year had done their work themselves or contracted that work out. That's why the reduction was there. The tree root repairs, we spent $407,176.78. And then the AD ramps, almost spending over $100,000 for local major roads to fix our ramps, make sure they're ADA compliant for visually impaired people in the city. And then obviously water and sewer repairs, just under $19,000. We did have 2 bills that go to AT&T, one goes to AT&T and one to the city and housing. But just asking for your approval for the final numbers for obviously the auditing purposes and to complete the contract and close it out.
Council? Mr. McCullough?
I'll offer an approving for consent.
Any audience communication? Seeing none, item number 8 is on consent. Number 9, request for authorization to purchase 1 2022 Ford Escape and 1 2022 Ford F-250 pickup truck from the Engineering Division to replace vehicles assigned to the Engineering Division from budgeted funds. Mr. Zalinsik.
Yes, we had budgeted funds for 2 vehicles. One will be, this will not increase our fleet, but one will be replacing an existing vehicle that was taken off our road because of safety concerns. It was previously a Ford Escape that was purchased from the inspection department as a hand-me-down. And the second vehicle was the truck that passed its useful life, and we utilize those trucks for snow plowing and obviously helping our DPW in the wintertime. The total cost for the Ford Escape and the truck will be a total of $77,026. Again, we made it through state My Deal contract, and we got quotes back in December 9 of 2021, bring it to you early as possible. As you know, it's very difficult to get vehicles these days with the chip shortage, and it may take several months, but obviously we want to complete the vehicles for our fleet to hopefully have us up and complete for the remainder for hopefully another 10 years. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer those. Thank you.
We could just get you another hand-me-down.
We tried that.
Council, Mr. Barr?
Just one comment for anybody who might still be watching. When you hear 77,000 and you wonder why is that so high for 2 vehicles, there's a significant upfitting charge on the truck because of some of the equipment that's required for that. So that's in that. I'll offer this for consent, approving if there's no objection.
Anybody else from
I have a
council?
question. Do you really need that AM/FM stereo radio?
I don't think they have time to listen to it when they're out there working with the activities going on with inspections, but, you know.
All right, just wanted to Taxpayer dollar protection.
Mr. Barr had a good point. The upfitting for lift
Yeah,
gate, to make sure
it's
we bring
huge.
out the safety, for safety and also for heavy equipment for our structures that we bring out to the site. So appreciate that clarification.
Audience communication, there is none. Item number 9 is on consent. Item number 10, proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended. Planning and Economic Development Department to amend Chapter 15.56, Section 035, permits and inspection fees to add and revise zoning fees, including zoning board of appeals fees, site plan review application fees, waiver and conditional use fees, appeal to city council fees, and zoning amendment fees, and to comport with Livonia Vision 21 zoning ordinance. Mr. Taramina.
We're going for 10 for 10 here. So this proposed amendment to the Code of Ordinances consolidates all of the fees associated with planning, land development, and zoning under a single chapter. Previously, the application review fees for all of these items were scattered throughout the zoning ordinance. With the adoption of Livonia 21, all but one of the fee schedules were eliminated and replaced with references to Chapter 15. Thus, this proposed amendment is necessary in order to reestablish the fees and comport with the new zoning ordinance. The fees, as was mentioned, apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals, site plan review, waiver and conditional use, appeals to city council, and zoning amendments. In most cases, the review fees will remain unchanged. However, for the ZBA, a flat fee of $450 would replace the previous fee schedule, which ranged from $150 to $500, depending on the nature of the request. The proposed change will more accurately reflect the actual costs of both the inspection and the law departments that are involved in these zoning board cases. Additionally, for petitions that appear before the Planning Commission and City Council, there would be an increase in the publication fee from $300 to $400. Depending on the type of petition, additional filing fees would apply with either no or nominal increases designed to offset the city's administrative costs for processing and reviewing these items. Besides placing all of the fees into a single section for consistency and to make it easier to reference and locate, we believe that another major benefit of being a part of the Code of Ordinances really streamlines the procedure for future changes versus the more lengthy process of of amending the zoning ordinance. Thank you.
Council,
Mr. President,
Mr. Barr.
love the simplification of this, love the user-friendliness of this, makes all the sense in the world. I'd offer for approving for consent if there's no objection.
It's an ordinance. It has to go first reading.
I'd offer, so I don't even offer anything then.
No, somebody would have to make a resolution for a first.
Okay, I'll make a resolution for a first reading.
Audience communication, there is none. I'm surprised anybody's willing to talk to us. Appeal fee. All right. Any announcements from the city council? Any audience communication? There is none on either account. I have thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with all of you tonight. Good night, Livonia. We're done.
All right.